You're logged on to LANKAPUVATH Web News with me, Sonali Pereira. Taking a look at the headlines for today, Tamil representatives are to address needs of Tamils. Sri Lanka calls for punitive measures against the LTTE's international network, and Development and Peace contribute $600,000 to Sri Lanka's relief measures. Well, moving on to the news in detail now, a committee comprising Tamil representatives will look into problems encountered by Tamil civilians. All committee members represent Tamil political parties and will hold weekly meetings. The committee is to visit relief villages and look into their activities. These decisions were taken at a meeting of Tamil political party representatives at Temple Trees, chaired by President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The President summoned the meeting at the request of Tamil party representatives to address the situation faced by Tamil civilians in the north. The President opined that immediate resettlement of civilians in their places of origin will be undertaken, giving priority to their security after removing landmines and booby traps. Well, the President urged party leaders to support the resettlement process. Meanwhile, senior presidential advisor and parliamentarian Basil Rajapaksa said these civilians have been given many facilities and referred to plans in place to direct all school-going children of liberated families towards studies. Meanwhile, TULF leader V. Anand Sangari was optimistic that Tamil civilians will in future not support the LTTE, as northern civilians are now clearly aware of the real nature of Prabhakaran. When a delegation consisting of a cross-party group of members of parliament from the United Kingdom called on him at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Minister Rohith Bogalagama stated that more pressure must be brought upon the LTTE by the international community, including punitive measures on its international network present in the UK. He cautioned MPs to carefully evaluate their participation at events and programs organized by LTTE front organizations, as it only leads to these operatives to seek legitimacy purporting its endorsement. Referring to recent demonstrations held in London, Minister Bogalagama stated that the illegal and blatant displays of LTTE symbols and insignia endorsing the separatist agenda makes it absolutely clear that these demonstrations are being conducted by the LTTE. He added that while Sri Lanka fully understands that the tenets of democracy by which sovereign nations are guided have to give way to the free articulation of views, there is a need for caution that government positions and policies do not become influenced by false propaganda. In this regard, it was unfortunate that Sri Lanka is faced with many baseless allegations which are being espoused by LTTE activists in foreign countries. Minister Bogalagama expressed the need for the international community to clearly distinguish between the slogans of LTTE demonstrators and the real aspirations of Tamil people. Elaborating on the facilities at welfare villages for fleeing civilians, Minister Bogalagama stated that the IDPs are registered in a transparent manner in the presence of the UN. Restrictions to movements of IDPs are purely due to security concerns, as the terrorist infiltration remains a realistic threat. However, a program has been established to reunite IDPs with their families in welfare villages. He also emphasized that it was the aim of the government to resettle IDPs in the shortest possible time frame once landmines have been cleared, as was done in the eastern province. He noted that the first phase of the resettlement program started on the 30th of April 2009, with 122 families returning to their original places of habitation, and that it is important to note that while Sri Lanka, after more than 25 years, is poised to root out terrorism in the country, the international network of the LTTE continues with its machinations unabated in many countries, including the UK, as evidenced by the recent demonstrations held in London and uninterrupted fundraising. He also reiterated that it is absolutely clear that the demonstrations in London are being conducted by the LTTE due to the blatant display of its flag symbols and the upholding of its virus for a separate state in the articulation of their position aimed at lobbying to obtain a lifeline for the beleaguered LTTE, which is confined to the no-fire zone. The action of LTTE activists is distinct from the real aspirations of the Tamil people, as the peace-loving Tamil community has lived side by side with the rest of the citizens in this country. In fact, 54% of this community lives in and around the capital metropolis of Colombo, he said. Also in LANKAPUVATH Web News, Development and Peace has allocated funds for emergency relief of some 170,000 Sri Lankan Tamils who have left the conflict province of Vanni in northern Sri Lanka to settle in government-run camps. Partner Caritas Sri Lanka has access to all the camps and is currently providing cooked meals, basic medical services through 13 mobile clinics, school and play material and trauma counseling for some 10,000 such families. Development and Peace has already sent $250,000 to Sri Lanka and will shortly be sending another $350,000. Development and Peace is also accepting donations for both emergency relief and long-term reconstruction in Sri Lanka. And in news overseas, the Election Commission had put all arrangements in place for the penultimate and phase 4 of the Lok Sabha elections covering 85 constituencies in 7 states and the National Capital Territory or NCT of Delhi today. In most places, the polling staff reached their place of work on Wednesday evening, including some trouble-prone areas. Besides 252 central observers, the Commission had sent 13 additional observers to West Bengal, 2 to Bihar and 1 to Uttar Pradesh. Tight security is in place in about 3,650 stations in the partly Naxal-infested areas of Nalanda and Pataliputra constituencies in Bihar. In Srinagar, alert CRPF Jawans detected and defused a powerful improvised explosive device kept in a gas cylinder outside the main gate of the Jamia Masjid in the city of Srinagar as Srinagar goes to the polls on Thursday. Altogether, 1,315 contestants, including 119 women, are in the fray, and elections will be completed in 457 of the 543 Lok Sabha seats, where polls are being held. And in the world of sport, badminton will be given a new lease of life by the Badminton World Federation or BWF, who has awarded Sri Lanka with the conduct of the Asian Junior Under-16 Badminton Championship to be held from the 3rd to the 9th of August this year. This championship will be held at St. Thomas's Sports Complex, with Mount Lavinia Hotel being the official hotel. Well, the BWF also offered a 1-month continental coaching camp for juniors to be held in Sri Lanka to be held in the month of July. All Asian countries have been requested to nominate players, from which 30 players will be selected for training, including the Sri Lankan junior national squad. Training will be carried out by foreign coaches who will be in Sri Lanka during this period, providing a good opportunity for local coaches who will also share in the training program. Well, all expenses in connection with this 1-month coaching camp, such as payment to coaches, airfares, food and accommodation of trainees, will be provided from overseas. Well, with that, we wind up LANKAPUVATH Web News for today. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again tomorrow with more news.